The force is strong with young Drake Maye at quarterback, but the New England Patriots, they're still sticking with the experience of Obi-Wan Jacoby. Stick around. You're about to be locked in to this Labor Day weekend edition of the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Now, hello to all of you Foxborough faithful. Thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. Don't forget, Locked On Patriots is not only a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, but we're also free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So smash that subscribe button. Download, follow Locked On Patriots wherever you're getting your podcasts to ensure you get the latest episode as soon as it's available. I'm your host, Mike Debate, and I cover your New England Patriots. For Patriots Country of Athlon Sports, reach out to me. Let me know what's on your mind on X at MDABATENFL. While you're out there showing some love to Locked On Patriots, social media style that is, please be sure to follow our account as well at LO_Patriots. And Pats fans, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So again, download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. And your New England Patriots, folks, will open their 2024 regular season against the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday, September 8th, 1 p.m., Paycor Stadium, Cincinnati, Ohio. Yeah, that's right. The New England Patriots are on to Cincinnati. And at long last, Pats Nation finally has official confirmation on the identity of who will be taking the team's first offensive snaps. The veteran, Jacoby Brissett, is going to get the ball. He will be your starting quarterback. And, of course, quoting directly from Drake Maye, who addressed the media on Thursday to relay this information, he's saying, quote, "We have decided, or I have decided, that Jacoby Brissett will be our starting quarterback this season. In saying that, as an organization, we are 100% behind Jacoby. There is no, you got a guy right here, you got a guy right there. We're 100% behind Jacoby." Joining us today to help break this all down is our good friend, the Counter Murphy Fisto himself, the legendary Thomas Murphy, the only man who can handle an announcement of this magnitude. Welcome to the pod today. Happy Labor Day weekend, and thank you for lending your wisdom and counsel to us today and this weekend, Don Murph.
I'm happy to be here, just hope to help the ball club, just like, Jacoby and Bailey and, well, not Bailey, but it's surprise. Come on. I've been telling you people this for a month and a half. This was not a competition. This kid is not ready. It was not going to happen. It had this much chance, and that chance was Jacoby Brissett getting hurt in preseason. That was it. And even then, I wouldn't have done it. I would have kept Bailey Zappi and run him out there behind this entire half pound of Swiss cheese that Elliott Wolf has put together to protect our new young Studley quarterback. No, I'm not surprised at all. Are you surprised at all, Michael, after everything that we've talked about for the past 6 weeks?
No, I'm not. I'm not surprised within the least. I think Drake Maye emerging and kind of developing a little bit more of a pro-level ready skill set throughout the course of the last couple of weeks has been a pleasant surprise, and it gave me pause to think about whether or not he was ready to step in and play as a pro. But at the same time, when you look at what the Patriots have on the offensive line,
Right.
You look at what the circumstances are in terms of the development plan that was set way back when Drake was drafted here in New England. I don't think the Patriots saw enough to deviate from that. So on that basis, Jacoby Brissett seemed to be the choice all along. And I don't think a lot of Patriots fans are surprised. There were some that looked at what Drake was able to do these last couple of weeks and say, okay, well, yeah, he's making throws, he's progressing. But folks, there is a nuance to playing quarterback at the pro level. And there are a lot of factors to consider in Drake Maye's performance. He deserves an awful lot of credit for progressing to the level where he's at. But it's another game. When these regular season games start and you're playing against primary competition, if there's even the slightest bit of doubt in that coaching staff's mind that this kid is ready to face Cincinnati's top defense, then at that point you have almost no chance of changing your mind and putting Drake Maye in over Jacoby Brissett. And I don't think that mind is going to be changed over the
No,
course of the first couple of weeks, Murph. It's not like, well, week one and we'll start the kid home when they return to face the Seahawks. Yeah, I
no.
think you're looking at least a few weeks before you see Drake Maye under center in New England, if that, this season.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Let's just back up to what Coach Mayo had said in his 75-second "I'm already sick of you people" press conference. Um, um, but no, the word that everybody out there is skipping is this season.
Mhm.
All right, Jacoby Brissett is our starting quarterback this season, not starting quarterback for week one for this season. Okay, I think Jacoby Brissett is going to have to get hauled off the field on a cart for that to not to happen. You know, it doesn't matter if Jacoby throws 2 picks week one, another 2 picks week two. He's the man until he is injured or they feel that that Drake Maye is actually ready for NFL game speed.
Mm.
Okay, because right now it's set to easy. It's been set to easy. Okay, you know how you get 3 settings on your kids' video games? Because I don't play video games. You know, there's hard and easy, or easy and difficult, and then really difficult, or whatever, however they do it. But it's right now it's set to easy, and the kid has looked good. He
Mm.
has.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say. Um, but let's not put the cart before the horse here. All right. I am trying to not get this kid killed, number one. And I'm really glad that Gerard Mayo, Alex Van Pelt and company are on the same page.
Mm.
It's something that I know you're all looking at other rookies around the NFL that have already been given the start. Um, the Patriots aren't in that position, okay, where they may only need one piece, or they don't have a line that I strain spaghetti through. You know,
True.
it that's just the way it is right now, and you're going to have to deal with it, and you're going to have to be patient. You guys didn't want to be patient during Bill's rebuild. Now you have no choice. You
Mm.
have absolutely no choice. The only thing that surprised me to this point is the fact that this team did nothing to bring in another veteran quarterback and let Bailey Zappi walk. Because if it does come down to Jacoby Myers being injured and hauled off the field, God forbid, on a cart, um, you got 2 rookies back there that are next up in line.
Mm. Yeah, and you have to think that at some point one of the open practice squads will be earmarked for a quarterback. I don't think there's any room for deviation from
No,
that. I think the Patriots have to do it. So that'll be something to watch within the coming days as the Pats start to prepare in earnest for their season opener against the Cincinnati Bengals this coming Sunday. But I want to trickle back to Jacoby for a moment because the narrative that we kept hearing, Murph, especially after the first couple of preseason games, especially after the last two,
yep,
was that Drake Maye looked much more season ready than Jacoby Brissett did. He
yep,
was outplaying him, in the words of Gerard Mayo. With Jacoby, and you look at how he performs on the field, played sparingly, still showing the fact that he can be an effective field navigator. I don't think anybody is questioning that in Jacoby Brissett's
no,
game. Is he at his peak level? Well, that's arguable. I think you can look at that and probably say, no, he's not at his peak level. But at the same time, he's capable of reading the pressure at the line of scrimmage. That's
right,
something that a veteran has that unfortunately a rookie does not, especially a rookie that has such limited experience in a pro level offense. It's what you've been saying right along here, Murph. I think all of these factors come together. And Alex Van Pelt essentially was the one that kind of laid the groundwork for
yeah,
this. When we talked to Alex earlier in the week, he said, look, quarterback is the hardest position in sports to play, especially for a rookie. Coming in, not seeing all the defenses that they're going to see in the NFL,
yep,
it's tough. It's hard to transition. It takes a little bit of time. I think we're going to be as patient as we can with that process. Jacoby, having played in this offense, understands the tools that you can use to get you out of certain situations, pressure situations. To
right.
me, that's the smoking gun right there. People want to know where the decision was made. It laid within the hands of Alex Van Pelt. And if you read the tea leaves all throughout preseason and through training camp, you would have seen that. And I think,
Or if you
and that's,
just listen to me.
well, that goes without saying.
Yeah.
You listen to Murph, you go to the top. You don't listen to Murph, you're never heard from again. We say that all the time here on Locked On Patriots. And guess what? 99.6% of the time, it's true. So, in that note, I really do believe that this was not necessarily the right choice, the wrong choice for New England. Murph, I think it was the only choice that New England could make.
This was the only decision that this team could have made. And I'm sorry, folks. I know you were all jacked up and everything, and Junior looked fantastic in his last preseason game and pretty good in the ones that he got into before that. This was the only road to.
So once Drake Maye grows into his skill set, that's going to be when you'll see him on the field. And I think as much as we all want to believe that he's ready to go pro level right out of the box, yeah, if he had a better line in front of him and he had the better circumstances around him, maybe you would be seeing Drake Maye start and get a trial by fire. But there are still nuances he's learning from the game. He is still tying his eyes to his footwork and his hand motions. These are things that are going to take a little bit of time. And he's still working on the footwork. He's still working on making reads at the line of scrimmage, picking up defenses. These are things that Jacoby Brissett has an easier time.
He's still learning to drop back.
Exactly. Yeah, he is. He is, because let's face it. I mean, in terms of putting him under center, he hasn't spent that much time under there.
The man lost a shoe.
Yeah.
You want him to run an NFL, he can't tie his shoes.
Believe me, I tied my own shoes once. It is an overrated experience. So when you look at that type of progression, when you look at the type of progression that Drake has made, and you also look at the type of progression he still needs to make, plus all of the factors around him kind of pointing to a veteran rather than a rookie being more successful in the system, folks, again, it comes down to it being the only choice. Right. But fear not, you will see a good amount of Drake Maye in a Patriots uniform, and it will come in short order. The only question is when. And that's the biggest question right now on everyone's mind. Jacoby Brissett, everyone's all set for him to start the season. But when will we see Drake Maye? Well, based on what we've seen out there on the football field, Murph and I are going to give it our best educated guess in just a moment when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Listen up, Locked On listeners. With summer coming to a close, that means back to school, back to work, back to your routine, and you have to tackle your to-do list. We'll do it with 5 Hour Energy, because 5 Hour Energy fixes tired fast. Whether you have a long list to do for work or a list of do-it-yourself projects to tackle at home, take a 5 Hour Energy shot so you can check everything off your list. If you're like me, you always have a large list of projects for the home. When you get your supplies for the project, do not forget the most essential supply, which is a 5 Hour Energy shot. With 0 sugar and a convenient portable size, it's the perfect pick-me-up for getting stuff done. The 5 Hour Energy website has flavors galore, like watermelon, tropical burst, berry, and so much more. Folks, there's a flavor for everyone, so be sure to try them all. On the site, you even have the option to build your own 12-pack or a 24-pack. You choose the flavors, and it's delivered right to your door. If you go to 5hourenergy.com, that is the number 5hourenergy.com, and get some 5 Hour Energy product today, you can use my promo code LOCKEDONFB to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used or combined with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. So once again, go to 5hourenergy.com and use my promo code LOCKEDONFB to receive 20% off your order. Go to 5hourenergy.com today. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots, and joining me as always here to break down the biggest stories in Patriots Nation, my good friend, the legend himself, Thomas Murphy. And Murph, in the previous segment, we talked a lot about your New England Patriots making the decision to start Jacoby Brissett as their quarterback in 2024. Rookie Drake Maye, the number 3 overall choice in the 2024 NFL draft, had a great preseason, showing a lot of promise. He's going to remain the backup now. But I think the question on everyone's mind, because let's face it, it's a foregone conclusion that eventually the handoff will occur Jacoby Brissett will hand the ball to Drake Maye, and Drake will take his rightful spot as the starter of this team. It seems to be a matter of conjecture as to when that's going to happen. Will it be after only a few weeks? Will it be mid-season? Will it be after the late season bye? Or will Jacoby continue to start throughout the season and Drake only gets to start if necessary, or we wait and trot him out there in 2025 to be the starter for good? Murph, you see things us mere mortals don't see. You have a way of looking into that Foxborough crystal ball that really I think so many people would love to be able to look into the future and see not just what the Patriots should do, but when they will do it. I put the question to you, my friend. When do you believe we're going to see Drake Maye under center or at least taking snaps for your New England Patriots as the starter?
Honestly, I think it's not going to be until next season. I think they hope that Jacoby can get through this entire season, not look like a complete mess, not end up in a hospital bed. I don't think they want to start Drake Maye at all. All right. So right now, what we have is, Jacoby Brissett as the starter, Drake Maye as the number 2 guy, and Joe Milton III as your number 3. All right. Now, normally in an NFL setting, the number 2 guy is running the scout team. Okay. He's over there running the opposition's plays in practice every single day. He's not learning the system that way. All right. So hopefully what, they're going to do is switch that up, and Joe Milton will be running the scout team and Drake Maye will still be taking snaps with the Patriots offense just in case. Because as far off as Jacoby, as Drake Maye is, Joe Milton III is even further in the rearview mirror. And again, that's why it surprises me that they haven't done anything to bring another veteran in here. But that's what I'm thinking. At the very least, when we're all, just finished digesting our Thanksgiving bird and we're starting to gear up towards Christmas, and the kids want to put the tree up and all that stuff, the Colts game. Okay, the worst case scenario is the fact that, okay, it's just gotten so bad. We've got to do something. Let's put the kid in there. He goes in, he plays against the Colts, and then he has the bye week after that to digest everything that he just saw. And yeah, I haven't come off what I said in April, May, June, July, the bye week. Okay, the week before the bye week is when Drake Maye, at the earliest, should be starting. I can't see the Crafts and Elliott Wolf backing down now after, the decision has been made, and just put him out there because the Pats are 0-4. Because there's a real good chance that this team is going to be 0-4. This is not just a bad line. This might be the worst Patriots offensive line that I've ever seen.
That is a strong indictment. And you'll find a lot of people that I'm sure are going to agree with you, especially with City out. I mean, because you're dealing now with a dearth of experience along this line. You're putting an awful lot on David Andrews' shoulders, who now has to shoulder the load in the interior. Your tackles, obviously, we've seen what the problems are there.
Well,
it's guys playing out of position.
How difficult it is to switch sides, all right? And they ask the entire left side, who think with the other side of their brain, to flip over there. Now City's hurt. There's still no left tackle here. Onweyu is working his way back into shape. All right, that was an actual truth, that he came in so out of shape that he could not play tackle. All right. Now he's getting a few more reps out there on the right-hand side, and I would have much preferred Chooks over there on the right-hand side, and City and Onweyu moved back into guard and kept it this way. At least one side of the line was okay, but it's gotten so bad when you are reaching for Vidarian Lowe to get back to be your left tackle, and you're worried about, the guy that you all have trashed forever, and that I've said is a good guard in Cole Strange, getting back, and now we're waiting and pushing and wondering when Cole Strange will get back to be able to play left guard. That's how bad this is. This is bad. Now is the time to panic. And I just it's discouraging, Mike. It's
Mm.
discouraging.
Because you're looking at an offense, a young offense that does have some promise. I mean, we've
Yep.
seen Drake May and we've seen what he can do. I absolutely love what I've seen from Jalen Polk this
Right.
offseason so far. I think he's been good, and I think he'll continue to grow into a role here that fans are going to really appreciate. And I think the team is going to really appreciate what he's going to do too. Demario Douglas is a very exciting guy to watch, and I love watching him emerge into something that could be very special over the course of the next couple of years. Ramondre Stevenson is capable of being a top back in this league if healthy and given the right opportunity. I've seen several rankings lately where he's not included in the top 10. I think that is a disservice to Ramondre, and I think he's going to prove a lot of people wrong this year. But it's not going to matter if that
No.
offensive line is not able to hold up, and it definitely puts a roadblock or at least a speed
Yeah,
bump in the way of all of their progress. So it's definitely going to be a long road for the New England Patriots offensive line to find a way not only to protect Drake May, because obviously that's a factor in Drake not being able to see the field earlier rather than
it is.
later. But also, you want to keep Jacoby Brissett upright. You
Right.
want to keep him healthy. Everybody's talking about protecting Drake, making sure Drake is healthy. Let's not forget about keeping Jacoby
Right.
healthy as well. This is a valuable quarterback on
Sure,
your
he would
team.
like
You
to
need to
walk.
keep him healthy as well. Yeah, I think it is going to be a very, very tough situation. And I agree with you. I think that's why it probably will be a delayed rollout for Drake May. And bottom line, Drake May watching Jacoby Brissett is only going to be an additional opportunity to learn because he really is learning from someone with solid mechanics and he's learning from a quarterback that's willing to teach him. And I think that's so important here with Drake May's development is he's dealing with a quarterback right now that is very comfortable knowing that this is going to eventually be Drake May's team. So that to me is a win situation for guys like Elliott Wolf and that front office that brought in Jacoby to be the bridge quarterback. You're really dealing with an ideal situation there. He's the perfect guy for it. I don't want to take our leave of this subject, Murph, before we discuss Drake May's mechanics, because I think in a lot of respects, people are looking at him mechanically or fundamentally and saying that he's ready for the pro level set. We've danced around this subject a little bit before. When you look at Drake and you look at the progress that he's made in adapting to a pro level offense, where do you think he is in terms of his progression? And what do you think this means for him when he finally does see the field?
I've been astounded. I
Mm,
think he's light years ahead of where I hoped he would be before the draft.
mm,
It's he's shown a willingness to go out there and put the time in. He's the first one in the building and the last one to leave by you know all accounts.
mhm.
And I think it's brilliant what he's from where he started to where he is right now. But that still doesn't mean that he's ready. Okay, we've got an offensive line that looks like a game of bumper pool going on out there.
Mhm.
Guys are running into one another. They're stepping on Drake's feet as he's dropping back. That's also that's the offensive line's miscue, but it's also his. It's he needs more time in a pro set offense. He needs more time under center. Okay, and learning to drop back. This is a kid that has done nothing but sit in shotgun now his entire life.
Very true.
His entire life,
Absolutely
folks,
true.
from Pop Warner football through high school through college, he has done nothing but sit in the shotgun and get snapped. And quite frankly, after David Andrews, we don't have anybody that can snap him the ball.
Yeah, that's
All
true.
right, I am the
Yeah, a
second
lot of
best center.
problems.
I am the second best center in New England right now.
Sign them
Okay.
up, folks.
Yep,
Give them a
I'm
jersey.
not kidding. I'm not kidding. You don't have anybody over the top of me. I could probably get it done. I'll get the ball snapped to him, which is more than we can say for anybody but David Andrews right now.
Mm,
And it's insane to think that he's had to go out there and work with what he's had to work with and gotten to the point that he has. All right, and this did not have to be the case. It really didn't. You guys who were clamoring for Drake May you could have grabbed Drake May in the first round and still gotten an offensive tackle in the second.
mhm.
All right, and I'm not. You guys all know that I wasn't a huge fan of taking Jalen Polk then, and I am even more upset over it now
Mm,
as to seeing the way that this line has. It's my worst nightmare come true. It
mm,
really is, and it didn't have to be. You could have gotten a quality left tackle, starting caliber left tackle in the second round, and he's bet the farm. Elliot Wolf bet the farm on flipping two guys that have played right tackle their entire careers over to the left side. All
mm.
right, now the interior is banged up, and if you end up losing David Andrews. It's terrible. You might as well just fold tent right now.
The health of David Andrews may be the
Yeah,
most poignant right now, and maybe the most effective health that you're rooting for. I think it's certainly one of the more important pieces on this
we said it.
team.
We said it after the first preseason game. They're as worried about getting anybody on that offensive line hurt as they are about getting a quarterback hurt, and that's why those two. That's why that's why Maye was pulled so early, and that's for quite frankly why Jacoby was pulled so early, because they wanted to get the offensive line out of there.
Mm, that's a good point, and definitely a potential liability as the Patriots now face practicing and getting ready for the regular season in a Week 1 matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. But I am glad that you did mention the progress of Drake Maye, because I think
Yeah,
lost in
it's
all
been
of
great.
this is what this kid has done fundamentally to grow. We've mentioned it several times. Tying your eyes to your feet, making sure that you're playing in rhythm, leading the shotgun with
Right,
with the left foot as opposed to the right, and
right,
spending time under center where all you've done is mostly run plays under the gun. These are all different concepts and different things for Drake to be learning. He's not only doing it in a new system, he's not only doing it for new coaches, he's learning a new type of environment around him, and he's doing it in not the quite ideal setting when it comes to what the Patriots have right now from the offensive line, from receivers. There's a lot of obstacles he has to overcome in order to become a pro level quarterback, and he's doing it at a pretty high level. So, kudos to Drake Maye for that. Definitely a tip of the cap to the kid, and we'll see what that means for the Patriots on the field. But Murph, there's no question about it. Leading into Labor Day, the biggest story of the week was who's going to be the Patriots' starting quarterback. We now know the answer to that question, but there was a lot of questions surrounding it, a lot of controversy. There were indications given that this may have been a closer quarterback competition than originally thought. In the end, the Patriots went with the sure-handed veteran. Were there mixed messages that led this to be more of a controversy than originally thought? Murph and I are going to talk about the New England Patriots' failure to communicate when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast wraps up right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On listeners, passion, drive, and patience is what brings home that winning trophy. You know what? It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. Our good friends over at eBay Motors have everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers to roof racks to exhaust kits, LED headlights, and so much more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots. And thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. All of you everydayers, we appreciate your support here on Locked On Patriots so much. In fact, we support it so much, we want to make a suggestion to you to make your second listen the Locked On Fantasy Football Podcast. It's fantasy season, folks, and we're all catching the fever. And our Locked On Fantasy Football analysts work tirelessly to provide you with the latest news, notes, and analysis to help you win your fantasy league. Locked On Fantasy Football is available on all platforms, including YouTube. Smash the subscribe button, Download and follow Locked On Fantasy Football wherever you get your podcasts, just like you do for us here on Locked On Patriots. Of course, Locked On Fantasy Football is also a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And folks, your team every day has your favorite in mind here on Locked On Patriots, riding shotgun here in this Labor Day weekend episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast. And that is my good buddy, Thomas Murphy, the legend himself, discussing all things Drake Maye, Jacoby Brissett, Gerard Mayo, Alex Van Pelt, Elliott Wolf, and the New England Patriots quarterback situation. Murph, we've talked about why Jacoby was the right decision. We've talked about when Drake may take the ball here in New England. But one of the biggest questions coming out of this whole week has centered around some of the controversy leading into Thursday morning's announcement. In fact, the rumblings were so loud that Gerard Mayo actually had to schedule an impromptu press conference, 8:30 a.m. on Thursday morning, 77 seconds long. It was only 77 seconds long, but he did schedule it and did answer the question. So, Murph, that begs the question. Murph, in the previous segment, I used the word controversy, a cloud of controversy surrounding this whole situation. And maybe that's a little bit conspiratorial, maybe not. I mean, I guess all of you out there can make the determination for yourself. But there was a great deal of confusion surrounding who may be the starting quarterback, who was the front runner at the time, who was outplaying who. Things of this nature were all swirling around prior to the announcement being made. And it led to a lot of frustration for a lot of Patriots fans once the announcement was made, because a lot of people were seeing improvement in Drake Maye. They were starting to see him play through some difficult situations in preseason, make some very eye-opening, aesthetically pleasing plays, and it's leading everyone to believe that this kid is pro-level ready. You hear the head coach say Drake has outplayed Jacoby, and it almost seems like he's tipping his hand. Again, I love to quote movies, Murph, and I think one of the all-time great movie quotes comes from Cool Hand Luke, and a failure to communicate. Do you think there were mixed messages coming from the Patriots front office that led this whole situation to be maybe a little bit more messy than it needed to be?
I think a lot of people stepped on their own tongues, what they said early in the process. And I think it was terrible to hang, yes, this is an open competition out there to begin with, because it was never an open competition. It never was. Just to keep on the Cool Hand Luke vibe, somebody needs a night in the box. All right, to learn. Mayo has not had to deal with the press in the way a head coach has to before in his lifetime, or at all. He's always been everybody's buddy. Okay, the assistant coaches are always everybody's buddy, and he's still trying to do that. Okay, he has close ties to a lot of the media in this town. He's worked with a lot of them. On say Quick Slants, a show that we both love and respect, Tommy Curran. So he knows that side of it, and he doesn't want to be disingenuous. But when people keep asking and asking and asking the same question, he's giving them what they want. He's giving them what they want to hear. Yes, it's an open competition, but then he steps on himself by saying that, yes, Drake has been the better quarterback. I told you he was going to look like the better quarterback on a lot of evenings, okay, during a lot of practices. He's more skilled. He just is. He's young. He's 22 years old. He slings the ball like a Greek god throws the discus, for God's sakes. It's terrible. How good this kid is. He's just not ready for it. He's just not ready for what he's going to see and what this line has. So yes, there have been mixed messages, because so many people have been talking to the media who have a hand in this, and maybe there's too many hands in this pot. Okay, there's too many cooks in this kitchen right now. And when you ask one thing and they say it's an open competition, then you go over to Alex Van Pelt and he's like, yeah, man, Jacoby's the starter. Okay, Jacoby's the best quarterback on this team. He's going to be out there week one. And then you turn back around and Elliott Wolf's like, I don't know. I don't know. Because two guys are saying one thing and Elliott Wolf's not saying much of anything, because I can't recall 10 words he said after we're going to weaponize and we're going to spend a lot of money. Well, that didn't happen. Okay. Um, and right now, the mixed messages that you were getting is because not everybody was on the same page, and you can put that on Gerard Mayo, and the fact that we're going to be so open with the press now. We're going to be transparent, and it's not going to be a vacuum anymore. We're going to no more silos. Isn't that what he said? No more silos.
Yeah.
And but there's definitely silos, and the only problem was the silos aren't communicating with one another to project a a single message that was going forth, and they did it to appease the media, and the media did it to appease the fans, and it's ridiculous. It really is. They should have just come out and say, look, Jacoby's our starter week 1. Get used to it now. This kid is not ready for prime time. He's going to look good on many occasions. That does not mean that he is ready for what NFL defensive coordinators are about to throw at them.
Mm. Yeah, and I think you make a good point. And look, I think bottom line, Murph, this all comes back to what we were talking about earlier, and the offensive coaching staff, particularly guys like Van Pelt and TC
Mm-hmm.
McCartney and Ben McAdoo, who has a
Yep.
big hand in the development of this quarterback
Too many
room.
cooks.
They're looking at Jacoby Brissett and saying, this is the guy we need to start the season
Yep.
with. He has to be the man. And I think what you have is Gerard Mayo caught in the middle of maybe some outside influences. You can read between the lines there, folks, to try to determine who you think I'm talking about, but they may want the kid in place. This is the
Yep.
number 3 overall pick. This is
Yeah.
the guy that's going to put butts back
Butts
in the seats.
seats.
And at this point, yeah, I think if you're Gerard Mayo, you want to leave that window slightly cracked open so
Mm-hmm.
that way you don't blow your credibility walking through the door as a rookie head coach. That could be a disaster for this team. And you want to make sure that you're maintaining your credibility and you're
Right.
maintaining a level of transparency, something that you campaigned on or something that essentially you promised upon taking the job.
Yep.
So in that respect, I understand where Gerard Mayo is coming from on this and trying to appease all sides. Like you said, there are a lot of battles being fought back here.
It's his team now. It'll be his team week 8. It'll be his team next year. The players that are in the building know that,
Right.
which is something that they didn't know last year. Okay. Undermining is what happened last year. Okay. No matter what happens this year, the Patriots go 0-17 this year, and Gerard Mayo is going to be the head coach next year, and Elliott Wolf is going to be the GM next year, and Mayo is going to be the one that's making those decisions. I think he made it very clear that this decision was his to make, and
Right.
he made it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a great point to make. Whether you agree with it, folks, or whether you
Mm.
disagree with it, the organization is now on the same page and they are giving a united front. Whether or not that was the case leading up to it is really not relevant anymore. Whether you were for it, whether you were for against it, everyone's behind it now. It's policy. So now everyone needs to move forward.
The only
Exactly
person
what
that's going to
you're
change this is Robert Kraft.
saying.
Okay, if we get to week 5 and the stadium is empty, the seats are sold. They're all sold. But if the stadium is empty and people aren't buying $25 beers and $11 pretzels, he might put his foot down and say, I need some people in the stadium. Send Drake out there. But I don't think Robert is that naive. I really don't. I don't.
No, I don't think so
I think
either.
he'll bite that bullet. Because quite frankly, I've talked to a lot of people and who are season ticket holders, and that don't think they're going to be making it to many games, and that have already set aside tickets to give away as Christmas gifts this year for people because they're just not sure about the product that's going to be put out on the field. And it is an expensive day, folks.
It is.
Ticket prices aside, it's still an expensive day. Unless somebody's feeding you lunch upstairs in the press box, it can get a little tight. Okay, unless you got a press pass getting you in for free parking, it gets a little tight there when you start going up Route 1 and you see the prices go from $45 to $55 to $65 for parking. Okay. And so yeah, there are going to be people out there that quite frankly have enough discretionary income to keep their season tickets, but might not be making the trip up to Foxborough 8 times this season. Is it 8 or 9 this year? It's 8, right?
It's 8. It's 8 games
I
this year,
hate
yeah.
that. I hate.
Yeah.
God, get back to an even number.
Well, as someone that resembles that press box remark that Murph made, I will acknowledge my fortunate nature in that regard.
Right.
But no, he's absolutely right. It is an expense and it
Yeah.
is an investment of time. It's an investment of resources in order to be able to go up. And you have to make the choice about whether or not
Right.
it's worth it for you to make that venture. For 20 plus years here in New England, it wasn't even a second guess.
No,
Patriots games were the most important thing going on a Sunday, bar none. I think you
that's it.
still have that in a lot of circles here in New England, but it has lessened
I've had a
because
priest
of the
skip
impact.
mass. I'm not gonna. Yeah, Father Flanagan is not here this week because he has Patriots tickets.
I hope they won that game.
They did.
It's a
They
divine
did.
intervention, folks.
hmm
Although they had Tom Brady, I don't know how much divine intervention. I think that's divine intervention enough. Having the GOAT play for your team
Right.
for 20 plus years and having the greatest coach on the sidelines. Yeah, that's all the divine intervention the New England Patriots needed.
But
But
I
I
mean,
think you make a great
just to
point,
come
Murph.
full circle here, yes, everybody should have been on the same page from the get go. All right. When the media kept asking questions, you know, Mayo should have taken a page out of Bill's book and just said, and it's been asked and answered.
Mm,
Jacoby is our starting quarterback. Can we go and talk about something else now?
mm,
Okay.
yeah.
Drake
And
looks fantastic. We'll see what happens down the line, but as of right now, Jacoby is our starting quarterback and will be for the foreseeable future unless something earth shaking happens.
mm. And
And
again,
believe me, as good as Drake Maye was, it wasn't earth shaking.
mm,
It wasn't. Okay, I have seen people over the years up to and including our former quarterback who is now slinging the ball down there in Jacksonville with the highest quarterback rating in the NFL make that same pass.
And again, I think it comes back to we talk about work in progress, and you talk about Drake being a work in progress, and we've seen the growth in Drake May. We've also seen the natural ability in Drake May, that pass being one of them. Obviously, I mean, it is impressive to see a rookie make that and do
Mhm.
what he does and go off script. Gerard Mayo was a work in progress too, folks. I think a lot of people have to remember that when you replace a legend, and whether you like it or whether you don't like it, Bill Belichick is a legend in this town, in this region, in this league, and really in all of professional sports when it comes to coaching.
Yep.
You will find very, very few, if any, that have enjoyed the type of success Bill Belichick had. He was a master at being able to diffuse drama when it came to the outside influences influencing his team or attacking his team. He had a way of being able to shell it off like I've never seen anyone do it
Yep.
before. Gerard doesn't have that skill yet. You can't blame him for that. He's still growing into the type of coach he's going to be. So maybe this is a learning experience for him to maybe be a little bit more tempered when he answers questions, not necessarily go through the whole, yeah, we're going to burn some cash and then have to
Yep.
walk it back. Or, yeah, Drake outplayed Jacoby and then have to walk it back. I
Right.
think you need to have a little bit more temperance when you're dealing with these situations. And I think Gerard's learning that lesson each and every day he's on the
Right.
job. So that will get better. That will improve. And bottom line, folks, the New England Patriots are going to have to improve on the field if they want to make the product watchable this year.
Good
Otherwise,
luck.
like Murph said, a lot of empty seats are in the future. This organization at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. But bottom line, folks, we want to end on a high note, and Patriots football is nearly back, and we cannot wait to bring you all of the action here each and every day, each and every week, right here on the Locked On Patriots podcast. The network is growing by leaps and bounds every day. We've got a lot of exciting features for you that are going to help to make this season your most enjoyable yet in New England when it comes to an information standpoint. So stick around, stay locked into Locked On Patriots. You will not want to miss a single second of the action. But in the meantime, I want to give a much well-deserved tip of the cap to my good friend, the Count of Murphy Fisto himself, the legendary Thomas Murphy, who's been by my side from inception here. Murph, I just hit my 5-year anniversary as being
Jesus.
host of the Locked On Patriots podcast, now the longest tenure host in Locked On Patriots history. And I am beyond grateful to have this position and be able to be a small part of your New England Patriots coverage each and every day. And having someone like Murph, who's always there for the handoff whenever I need him, is probably the greatest blessing I have in this job. other
on.
than being able to get to know each and every one of you, all of you everydayers, and all of you listeners out there that truly touch my heart with every bit of support that you provide to Locked On Patriots. So thank you very much. And thank you, my good friend, for coming along for the ride. Before I let you go, please let everyone know where they can reach out to you, interact with you, and what you got marinating in Murph's kitchen between now and next week.
Keys.
Monster
Folks,
keys.
monster keys are coming. Okay, I'm sitting there. I'm deep into film in Cincinnati, and I'm going to bring Alex Van Pelt, Gerard Mayo, and Jacoby Brissett several different ways to beat this Bengals team. Okay, that's what I'm doing. That's all I'm doing for the next week and a half is cutting keys. Other than that, you can follow me on Zitter at tmurph207. And Michael, I just want to say that this 5 years has just flown by. It's been a
Really has.
pleasure and a privilege to be able to sit down here with you once, twice, sometimes 3 times a week, and talk Patriots with you. And I'm looking forward to the next 5 years. But salute.
Absolutely. Now, to the next 5 years is right. And if you consider 2 or 3 times a week talking Patriots just fun, y saludo, Murph. And thank you for always being there for me as well. And folks, thank you for making us a part of your Labor Day weekend. We hope wherever you're celebrating this weekend, you're doing so responsibly, you're doing so safely, and you're doing so enjoying the love and appreciation of great family and great friends. There's no greater wealth in the world, and we hope you are all enjoying that this week. So on behalf of my good friend, the Count of Murphy Fisto himself, the legendary Thomas Murphy, I'm Mike Debate, reminding you all to once again to stay safe, stay well, and be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone, a great weekend, and we'll see you back here again next time on Locked On Patriots.